Okay, so we want to welcome everybody. We're excited for this day and hope a few more of you will join us. But I want to welcome David and Cindy with us today. And we are going to start with David, who is prepared to talk to us a little bit about motivation and what Dr. A says about motivation and how we can use that to have better success.
Okay. Well, Dr. A talks about the motivation and the reasons behind it. And so you got the difference between problem solving versus desired outcome. Right? A lot of people will say, I need to lose weight because I don't feel good, or I need to lose weight, so I can look better. And then when they lose a little weight and they feel good or they look better, then they stop the plan. And that's why most people yo-yo back and forth on diet plans. With Dr. A's plan, losing weight is just part of it. You want to actually have optimal health. Reading Dr. A's books is to live to be 120 and be healthy.
Right.
Be able to be over 100 and play with my great grandchildren or whatever I have by then. And so, it's kind of a positive negative thing. The universe and I don't know if y'all have ever read the book or seen the little video about The Secret. Talks about the universe doesn't recognize not and don't. Okay, so there was a little sidebar in the book that said,
what page are you on, David?
let me find it real quick. It's on page 19.
Thank you.
Beginning of chapter 3.
Okay.
It says the habit of health, focusing on what you want, not what you don't want. Mm-hmm. And as I read that again this morning, I've read that 4 or 5 times in the last several months. And I thought about seeing The Secret when I was out in North Dakota, and a guy shared that with me from Utah. And it's all about positive attitude thing. Like if this one guy wanted a Rolls Royce, and so he just kept thinking about a Rolls Royce, and eventually he got several Rolls Royces.
Oh wow!
And the universe and the whole secret thing's kind of non-denominational, but we know that they're talking about Heavenly Father. They say the universe wants to grant you these things, but you've got to do your part. You've got to think. So if we think ourselves thin, we'll stay on the plan and stay motivated. Mm-hmm. And it's all about staying more positive, saying, I want to be ultimate health. I want to go hiking in the mountains. I want to go skydiving or whatever it is you want. Instead of saying, I don't want to be fat. I don't want to be tired. I don't want to be short of breath. Because any of those don'ts, then your body, being a natural part of this universe and Heavenly Father's creation, is not going to recognize that. And everything in the universe is really positive.
Yeah.
And sometimes I got to remind myself of that, especially since my accident. But that's my motivation. It's just try to keep more positive and keep on the plan.
Absolutely. Thank you, David. That was a great summary. And fantastic. Cindy, anything further on that? Anything that helps you with motivation?
Well, I think the thing that helps me the most is to be thinking about it every day. Mm-hmm. Well, more than every day. The support calls in the morning in this Zoom conference, it seems like that is a big deal. And it's a big deal to read in the book every day. Mm-hmm. It seems like that's what helps keep me focused and keep me on.
Thank you, Cindy. Thanks. Those are really important things. Just actively doing those daily things, right?
Right.
Help us keep our mind engaged.
Writing in your journal.
Yeah. Thank you, Cindy. Okay. So Laura Lee, we're talking about motivation. Welcome.
Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Glad to be here.
So tell us, look how cute you look this morning.
That's not fair.
So tell us what helps you stay motivated, Laura Lee?
I think a lot of the social support and stuff, like, and the meetings, the phone calls during the week have been really great. Keeping up on the reading has really helped. So just being actively involved.
Actively involved. There is so much to say for Dr. A says fully integrated client. That means that we're fully engaged. We're doing the program, we're checking in with our coach, we're engaging with the habits of health. We can, be part of these support things that we are, and so super important things. So, and like David said, you just continue to focus on what it is we're moving towards rather than what we're moving away from. I once heard someone talk about a violinist, and they talked about this violinist who wanted to be a concert violinist, and how she had that focus, and so she would practice and practice and practice, and it wasn't about not being the worst violinist, but it was about being the first seat violinist in the orchestra, and that's what she constantly focused on. And do you think she would have ever made it there if she would have said, well, every day she went to practice and just said, well, I just don't want to be the worst one. I just don't want to be the worst one. Where do you think she would have ended up?
The worst one. She wouldn't have stuck with it.
Or, yeah, definitely. That's definitely one of the options. She might not have stuck with it. She might have just ended up as the one on the back row, right?
Yeah.
Which, in some orchestras is very honorable. But she might not have even made it into that kind of an orchestra. So, okay. So I want to address from your workbook. I don't know how many of you guys have your workbook or your Habits of Health, but on page 85 in the Habits of Health, or 67 in the workbook, Dr. A goes over how to accelerate your weight loss. And all of us can benefit from that, right?
Mm-hmm.
How to accelerate your weight loss. So I'm just looking to see if these are the same. They're not exactly the same. So let's go over page 67 from the workbook first, and then if there's other things that we see from the book, we can go through those. Okay, so let's just kind of go around, and each person can read one, and then if you want to expound on that at all or share an experience about how you've applied that to yourself, we'd love to hear that. So number 1, eat your first meal replacement within an hour of waking up. And I know that's important because that gets your metabolism started first thing in the morning. And that's what we want. We want those calories burning right in the morning. So even if it's a quick thing, and make sure before you exercise that you are, if you do an early morning exercise, that you are getting one of your meal replacements before that. Okay. Let's see. Cindy, will you read number 2?
Number 2, don't over-exercise. If you haven't been exercising, don't start now. Wait 3 weeks. Then you can begin to add activity to your schedule as you learn habits of motion that are sustainable over time. If you're already exercising, cut the amount of weight you use by half. And don't do more than 20 minutes of exercise a day for the first 3 weeks. No huffing, puffing, or sweating. I like that. After 3 weeks, you can add more weights and exercise, but while you're on this low-calorie program, don't exceed 45 minutes of moderate activity.
Okay, awesome. So that's pretty straightforward, isn't it? Pretty straightforward, and it's really important. In fact, we got a video this week that I posted in the Success in Action group from one of our presidential directors, who is, I would say, if there's one female icon, example, maybe I should say, in Take Shape for Life, her name is Lisa, and she came from being bedridden to being, ultra health, toned and buff, and everyone's like, if we can just have arms like Lisa, but she is just really the picture of optimal health. And she was talking about how important it is that we follow this guideline and that we don't over exercise, even when we're getting closer to our healthy weight, because that slows things down. And so anyway, that's really important. Okay, number 3, Laura Lee.
Be sure to have all 5 meal replacements in your lean and green meal each day. Eat slowly and use a straw for liquids. That's a good tip about the straw. I had never done that. But it's just important to plan those meal replacements and the lean and green. Just okay, it's 10 o'clock. It's time for another one, and just have them ready.
Right. Absolutely. Thank you, Laura Lee. Okay, David, are you able to speak?
Why do you use the straw for liquids?
You know what? I've never heard the explanation for that.
Because I always call a straw a sissy stick, so my manly self won't use a straw, but if it helped me lose weight, I guess I could use one.
I think it just slows it down, so you're not just gulping. Yeah. So you're just taking it slower.
Huh. And I was kind of thinking the opposite.
Oh.
That it helps you get it down quicker. Maybe it doesn't get it on your shirt. I don't know. I don't know. Okay, let's go on to 4.
Number 4. Drink plenty of water. Divide your weight by 2 to find out how many ounces you should drink daily. For example, if you weigh 220, you should drink 110 ounces of water per day.
Okay.
Remember, you can use iced tea or Crystal Light to satisfy your daily amount, but then that puts tannic acid in your body, and iced tea ain't good for you.
Yeah, and Crystal Light also puts aspartame.
Yeah.
So we don't want to do that too much either. Also, remember that those things will count as your condiments for your day. So, okay, I noticed that we have someone else who's called in. Who's that?
This is Kent. I had all kinds of problems with my computer to try to get into this, so I called.
Okay, awesome. Are you in your workbook?
No, I'm not in my workbook. Am I supposed to be in my workbook?
Well, we just opened to page 67, so if you want to grab that, you can.
Okay.
Okay, so accelerating your weight loss. So number 5, measure your lean and green meal portions and stick to them. So take your portions and just get what you're supposed to get and let that be enough. Most people say that almost is too much, so we'll let that be enough. Okay, number 6, Cindy.
Keep your daily carbohydrate level between 85 and 100 grams, though 85 is optimal. Your lean and green meal should contain about 10 carbs.
So good, more numbers there. Keep in mind. Okay, number 7. Kent, are you there?
What page in the
60,
workbook?
67.
I'm here.
Hey, number 7.
Okay.
Read that.
Okay, take advantage of all the support you can, whether through meetings, chat rooms, positive ones only, support calls, or a personal coach.
Okay, do you have want to expound on that at all?
I find that going to the meetings really helps to set you back on course if you're off course, and I do enjoy the meetings with Take Shape for Life.
Awesome. So you're talking about the meetings with the coaches.
Yeah, and some of those meetings down in Orem with Amber and her group has been very helpful.
Yeah. Yeah, they are awesome, and getting to associate with people who are like-minded is really powerful. I agree. And I think that all of you guys already mentioned how helpful these kind of things are, and our morning calls, and of course your calls with your coaches. So support is essential. Okay, number 8, Laura Lee.
Keep your journal every day. I need to work on that.
Okay, well, this is meant to help us identify little things that we can tweak that'll help us have more success. So definitely writing down everything you eat is, and the emotions and things surrounding that can help you, can help you stay on track, as well as help you to identify patterns. That's what I'm doing. So Barbara, in our group, she's been posting the date with the weight. And so I started doing that, and so I also put in my number of steps, whether I did my exercise, what plan I was on. Mostly I've just been doing 4 and 2, but I think it's gonna help me notice some patterns and see if there's certain days I need to change things. Maybe I need to do, I don't know. I've never really done it quite that way before, so I'm excited to see, how tracking it a little differently will help. And of course, I'm still using MyFitnessPal every day to make sure I'm on track. And okay, number 9, David.
Review your goal and secondary choices every day.
Every day. Okay, so yeah, really focusing on what it is you're working on, what you're moving towards, right? Yep. Okay. Have no more than 2 approved snacks per day if needed. Okay, and if permitted within your 85 carbs. I didn't write that. I didn't read that, but I think a lot of times we don't have any more carbs left to be doing that. So, okay. Cindy, read the next one.
Don't add extra carbohydrates such as bread, pasta, rice, or fruit.
Okay. Pretty self-explanatory, right? And the last one, Laura Lee?
Don't drink alcohol of any sort, which I'm really good at.
I'm really good at that one too.
I was like, oh, good. I'm there.
You can check that one off, right?
That one, yeah.
Fantastic. So, just like, going to church and keeping the commandments, there are some things that we're a little better at and some things that we're still working on. So just decide which of those things, you can work on. There are a couple other things listed in the Habits of Health book, page 85, that are, he names secrets of success. And so he talks about, on the second one, get some extra rest. You may feel a little tired during the first 3 days as your body switches to fat burning mechanism and gears up to use its fat stores. So get some extra rest is a good thing. And make sure you're getting your 7 hours if you're already in fat burning. Okay. Anybody else notice something on that list that's different from the other one, or a little bit more information?
Oh, stay busy and avoid sights and smells that remind you of food.
Okay, good. Okay, very good. Thank you, Laura Lee.
Limit caffeine.
Okay. No more than 3 servings a day. Okay, very good.
Down at the bottom, third one from the bottom says, if you slip up, just get right back on track. You know, it's like before everybody else got on here, we were talking about my daughter, who's my only client. And, you know, when she slips up for the day, then she just goes on a binge for that day. You know, she says, well, I've already messed up, so I might as well live it up, you know, and she'll grab a pack of cookies or go to McDonald's or whatever it is she wants to do. And so I keep telling her, you know, if you slip up one time, and I mean, it's not always food that she slips up on. Maybe she didn't get all her water in, so she feels like she's failed for that day, and she'll just go back to her old habits. Or, you know, maybe she skipped one of the 5-in-1 meals because she was busy or something with the child at the doctor or something, you know. And so I'm trying to explain to her, just get right back on it, you know. I mean, I've cheated a whole bunch, but I go right back to it, and I continue to lose a little weight, you know. So
yeah. Thank you, David. Yeah, so, you know, we don't want to, there are things that we omit and things that we commit, right? Things that we put in our mouths that don't go there, and things that we forget to do or get busy. And remember that those, we can always make up for that. I mean, that you have until midnight. And really, I mean, hours are just hours. They're not, it's not like your body stops working or starts a whole new cycle, you know, at 1 o'clock in the morning. You know, we just call those our days. And so, you know, we even have some people who are on the program who work long hours and sometimes even through the night. And so, you know, it's recommended with the program that you eat every 3 hours as long as you're awake. Okay, and that's with the assumption that the next day you're probably going to sleep a little more than you're awake. So maybe this day you'll get in 6 meal replacements, and tomorrow you'll get in 4. So it's going to all balance out to having 5, you know, a total of 6 meals a day, or 5 Medifast meals. Does that make sense?
yeah.
Yeah, but your body needs those fuelings as long as you're awake. At the same time, if you don't have to be awake, sometimes it's just time to go to sleep. And you just need to put yourself in bed. So, okay, anyone else with tips for success?
Well, I was reading something I've never, well, I think I read it one time 3 or 4 months ago, but on page, in the workbook, the page before we was on, I guess page 66, beat cravings. While most people lose their cravings for sugar and other carbohydrates while on the program, they can still occur. Because most food cravings last less than 15 minutes, it's a good idea to make a list of chores that take about that long. Maybe cleaning out the sock drawer or the cupboard under the sink, straightening a room or your office, sweeping the porch or garage, or washing some windows. When you feel a craving, grab a big glass of water and choose one of the projects on your list. You'll walk away with a feeling of accomplishment and the knowledge that you stuck to your program. Plus, you can get some chores done.
Absolutely. Speaking of chores, how are those boxes coming, David?
I've got a bunch of empty boxes now, and I got another whole storage building emptied, so I'm down to 1 storage building, so that's saving me money every month.
Awesome.
So.
That's fantastic. Okay, well, I want to, anybody else with tips for success for people who are getting started, people who are getting back on program?
I say just stick with it.
Stick with it.
Yeah.
I like that. Okay. you know, I want to put a little thing out there that kind of just came to my mind earlier this week, when I was talking to a client who was trying to get back on program, and she said, "Why is it so much harder to get back on program?" And for those of you who are listening who are just starting, it's better not to go off program if you can, because it is a little harder to get back on. And for some reason, into my head came, you know, getting back on program is like starting a bike in the middle of a hill, right? You're going, going, going. You have all this momentum. You're doing great. You're experiencing the excitement. You're in fat burning. You're going. And it might not be easy, but you have the momentum of when you got started to carry you up that hill and over the top. But if you stop in the middle, then is it easy to get started again? Not necessarily. In fact, you might need somebody to push you to help you get started, right? So that's where it's really important to check in with your coach, refocus on what it is you're creating, and get that jump start, get that push. Because in the middle of the hill, you don't have the chance to go back and, you know, get the momentum. And so you have to kind of get excited, and more than excitement, you have to get refocused, and you have to be prepared to push with all your might when you first get going until you feel like you're in the rhythm. And any further comments on that? Laura Lee, you look like you have something to say.
Well, just to add, yeah, I just think it's so important to focus on what we're creating rather than what we're trying to get away from.
Mm-hmm.
You know, look at, you know, our goals and what we want to be, and look at that end and be excited and positive about that end.
Right. Absolutely. Okay, well, we have a repeating message today. Focus on what you want to create. So make sure that's really clear in your mind about what you're working toward. What is right over the other side of the mountain when you get there? And remember that as you focus on that, it's going to be easier to make those you know, take those make those rotations with the pedals that will get you there. So, all right. Well, thank you everyone for joining us. I'm really grateful that all of you came, and look forward to seeing you next week.
Okay.
Thank you, Kristy.
You're welcome. Make it a great weekend.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Ask you a
Goodbye.
couple questions.